Hey everyone, Synth here, and today we're going to take a look at UVI Relayer. Now there's about a billion delay plugins out there. I'm pretty sure that if you type in a delay plugin into Google you will probably break it, so I won't try it because I don't want to be responsible for that. But yeah, there's like a huge range of delay plugins out there, ranging all the way from absolutely free to absolutely ridiculously priced. And I would say UVI Relayer is somewhere in between those two camps. So it retails for 129 euros. I happen to have bought it during a sale, which dropped the price to 49 euros. And the nice thing is, if you buy Falcon, you get a little discount code. So I managed to drop the price all the way down to 19 euros. So that's a disclaimer, I did not pay full price for this product, but I'm also not sponsored by UVI. This was purely with codes available to me and to everyone really who happened to be into the UVI ecosystem. So keep your eyes open for discounts. Like I said in one of my earlier videos, discounts are a big part of smart shopping. Anyways, that out of the way. Relayer. One of the many delay plugins out there, and I don't want to compare it too much to other delay plugins because I don't think that's very interesting. I just want to go over why you may want to buy this specific VST instead of other VSTs. So we are going to look at Relayer, and our sound source will be Addictive Keys by Excellent Audio because pianos work nicely as a demonstration tool. So just by default it will sound a little like this. Big shocker, it's a delay. But that's not where this stops. This gets quite a bit deeper than your average delay. It's a little bit of a delay on steroids, which makes it perfect for a bunch of things and a little bit of a drag to work with for other things. So first off, let's start with the left side. We have our time control, basic stuff. It was extremely long. Wait for it. Hey, there it is. So what you're hearing now is actually the old 3 times delay that's still in the delay loop. So let's just quickly kill the feedback. That should have killed it. There we go. Super basic stuff. Underneath you have the feedback. This is where it gets interesting. Now if we turn off the feedback, you can see down here it displays what it looks like. Turn off the feedback, we can set how many repeats it will do. So let's put it at 2. Actually, let's turn off the pen. So that's 3, 1 main sound, 2 delays, and we can crank this up. That's 8, so 1 main sound and 7 repeats. And we can time sync this or just have them on a time scale. This is nicely represented in the graphics as well. But let's keep it synced for now. Let's put it at 8. And now we can play around with this a little bit. So here we see the gain of every repeat. So right now every repeat is the same strength. So let's put it at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we can actually draw in another shape. So now the amplitude decreases with every repeat, but we can also amplify the third repeat and make a little pattern here. That's pretty interesting, and you can expand this pretty far if you want to. And you can draw in some basic shapes, so this is pretty much your standard feedback style. You can also turn it around, or wavy shapes. And you have some transformational tools to make everything higher or lower, slide it to the left and the right. Or scale the values. And this level of control is in every aspect of the tab. So let's quickly reset this to just all full volumes. Let's take a little look at the time for the delay. So now we can set the time for every individual tab. So right now it's at full time, so that's 1/8. And we can also make one of the tabs faster or slower depending on what we want. So we get this little pause between the first and the second. Or we can make it faster. And again, this is for every tab. So that's a lot of customizability. We can add some swing if we want to. This is represented in the bottom. You can see the delay lines moving left and right. So you can make it a little bit more rhythmic. Double click to enter values. So this is our basic pattern. Some swing. More swing. And you can also set the swing scale. If you want really lazy or really sped up, that's totally a possibility. And you also get a few warp controls, which allows you to skew it either earlier or later in the time frame. Cool, and you can also reduce this number up here so you get a repeated pattern. So if you just want a pattern of 2 repeating, you can do that and it will adjust accordingly. I bet the Edge from YouTube would really love this delay. It's very versatile. So here again you have some presets. You can also randomize if you want to. And you can do the transform thingies. And you get one of these for pen as well. So this is what you heard in the intro. Right now it's set to a 2-bar pattern where it goes left right. So this is basically ping pong. You can also expand this, and the fun thing is you can make this a free pattern, for instance. While the other things are 2 patterns, or 6 patterns in this case. To add some flavor, you can set the stereo spread from very wide to... I'm sorry, down here. So that's another toy to play around with, and this is for every repeat, so you can really expand this all the way up to 32 repeats, and you can draw in whatever pattern you want. So this is just very repeating. Now obviously this way is a little bit boring, but you can expand this all the way to over there, and then you can draw in one of these. So let's just do random, get a nice little random pattern. We can get a nice little random, oops, there we go, random time. Oh, that's a bit boring. Here we go. So it's really a tool that can go from very basic delays all the way into the pretty insane delays, and that's just talking about these 3 parameters. And as you can see, we have a bunch more parameters here, and we have some more parameters here, so we have parameters all over the place. So let's quickly initialize, back to basics. There we go, single repeat, full gain. And now let's take a little look down here for our modulation. And we're going to need a little bit more here. That's pretty funky. So we get modulation for the time, and we can make it a little bit less drastic. If you're really into that very wobbly vibe, usually you would probably leave this a little bit less extreme, pretty slow, just to add that little bit of a, I guess you could call it a tape wobble, and you probably wouldn't do it with 5 repeats, but just use the feedback. The funny thing is, when you extend into where it already was, it will of course pick back up. Underneath we get diffusion, which will diffuse the sound, basically. It has a start parameter, which determines when the diffusion starts to happen in your loop. And then there's the amount of diffusion. If you leave it all the way off, let's create a fairly long tail. Alright. So that does add another touch to it. And on top of all this madness, we also get some extra effects in the bottom right corner, in the color corner. Above is just wet-dry control, so it's not a mixed knob, it's 2 individual knobs to set the dry and the wet. And you can also solo the wet if you only want the wet signal, or if you want to quickly hear what the wet signal sounds like. So let's dial in a little bit of a wet signal. And now we can add colors to this, and this is basically a set of, well, basically impulse responses, which create a different tone to your reverb sound. So let's go for this, for instance. So that's very reverb-like. Some filtering in this one. It's very warm. Again, some color, as in some tone filtering. And you can mix in how much of this extra tone you want. Let's do something insane. I think one of these was pretty weird. That's some pretty cool extra vibe you can add. And you have a filter for our delay, which only affects the delay. Only a high and low pass available here, but it's pretty much mostly what you need, because it's nice to have a little bit of a high pass to filter out some of the low, keeping things from getting too muddy. When we go into effects, again, this is for every repeat, so let's crank it up a little bit so we actually get some repeats. We have some filtering options here: comb, foul filter, wah, redux, wave shaper, and a phaser. Let's do wave shaper, for instance. So let's add a little bit of gain, and let's take the mix down a little bit, and let's see what the wave shaper does. That's pretty ugly. And again, you can set this for every repeat if you want to. So now we have a clear one in between the wave shaped ones. Let's make the time a little bit longer so it's a little bit more obvious. And you also get this with comb filters. And this you can modulate with an LFO, the rate and the depth. Here, once again, not limited to specific lengths of repeats, you can also go for 3. And you get 2 of these effects lanes. So you can stack effects if you want to. So let's add a vowel to this. So it's a lot of creative power in all these little tabs. Last of all, and definitely not least, we also get some control over the feedback. So we can, if we have 4 tabs for instance, and we let's turn off the effects first. Okay, we're good. And we dial up the feedback. You see that it repeats the same pattern, so it always goes 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Now if we take the gain of the third one, you will see in the feedback it will go down on the third one. And we can now set it to a different tab, so let's say the third one, and you will see that the entire pattern shifts. So now it will feedback from the third tab on. Creating a different sound. Aside from that, you also get some different drive types: analog, tape and tube, for different styles of distortion, if that's your thing. And you also get a ducker, which you can use to duck out the feedback when you play a new note. This is especially a nice feature if you're going to work with vocals. It's always nice to have a ducker to keep it from getting too messy with the vocals. So that's a very, very neat feature to have in a delay. So that's UVI Relayer in a nutshell. A very complete delay. I would say it's one of those tools that will replace quite a bit of your toolbox really, because it does a whole lot of things. Now, one of the things I will hold against it is one, it is pretty expensive. Even though I got it at 19 bucks, which is a pretty insane steal. But if you are paying full price, I would say it's a bit on the pricey end of things. I mean, it has a nice interface and a ton of features. Then again, many times if you use a delay, you're really bound to just want a delay and you don't want to spend 15 minutes messing around with a ton of features just to eventually end up with a basic delay after all, meaning you spend a lot of time on nothing. On the other hand, if you are looking for a very versatile delay that can do some absolutely insane stuff, this may very well be exactly what you're looking for, because it goes all the way from just a delay to whatever this is. So that's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool tool. So hopefully this helped you a little bit. I will splice in some demos. I will show it on some different instruments here at the end of the video. And I hope you found this video somewhat entertaining, and I hope it will help you make a decision if this is a tool you would like to use. So that's it for now, and I'll see you around.
Bye.